What's going on, guys? This is Mike with Chit Chat Gaming. So plug and play seem to be making a comeback. Why do I say comeback? Because these have actually been around for quite some time. I remember a few years ago being able to pick these up in Walmart. Yes, they had like a few games on them, but they were still plug and plays. We also had the Atari versions, we had the Coleco versions, we had the mini at games, Sega Genesis versions as well too. So these are nothing new. But ever since Nintendo dropped the Nes Classic, these have become more and more popular. Over the past couple years, we've seen more and more of these things start coming out. So I went ahead and I grabbed 3 of the ones that I think are the most relevant at this time. I kind of want to compare all 3 here and let you guys know what I personally think is the best bang for your buck. So let's go ahead and let's take a look. So 2 years ago, Nintendo officially announced that they were going to be releasing an NES Classic. It was going to be a plug-and-play console that basically gave you 30 games on there for you to enjoy. So in November of 2016, Nintendo officially dropped the NES Classic here. This thing had tons of hype behind it. Number 1, the compact size. Number 2, it's HDMI ready as well too, so you can actually hook it up to a modern television and play it in an HD quality. But most importantly, like I had mentioned, it had 30 plus games on there. One of the downfalls was that it came with 1 controller, and the actual controller itself had a very short, I believe it was like 2-foot cable to it, which was not very popular by anybody. And this thing was $60. Go a year later, in Nintendo in November of 2017, Nintendo of course continued to ride that money train and decided to release the SNES Classic. Once again, a nice compact size, HDMI compatibility, and of course this one here came with 20 games, 21 if you include Star Fox 2, which is an unreleased game here in the USA. So once again though, this was actually, I believe this was actually $80 if I remember correctly, or 71 the two, I can't remember, but it was a little bit more than what the NES one was. But you got some more games on there as well too, or you got of course SNES games on there, but you got an extra controller. So it did indeed come with 2 controllers, and they were longer as well too, so that definitely helped out a lot. Both those things, both these classics here were very hard to find. The NES Classic here, I had to wait in line for it. I did have it pre-ordered, but I still waited in line. You can't find these anywhere. Nintendo did announce that they're going to be re-releasing these here this year for everybody here as well too. So hopefully you guys will pick one of these up when they're released here once again. With the SNES Classic, same thing. Very hard to find. They're hard to get a hold of. You had basically, if you did not get a pre-order for both these 2 items, you were not going to get these for a while. But now you can actually walk into any Best Buy and such, Walmart and everything. More Best Buy I've seen from my experience anyways, and you can find these here. The other day I walked into my local Best Buy here, and there was like 6 of these on the shelf. So these are definitely a lot more easier to find and come by nowadays. But it didn't stop there. A few months later, RetroCade did release a RetroCade Generations console. It was also a plug and play. Wasn't as popular, wasn't really that great. I mean, yes, it had some of the classics from Sega Genesis on there as well too. Had some SNES, NES, I believe, on there, but it had nothing compared to the Super RetroCade. This was released in December of 2017, and this one here did something that these other 2 consoles could not do. Well, without having to hack it, it gave you 90 great arcade classics on here. Lots of great games in here, including a few SNES and NES games, but for $80 or for $60 for $59.95, this thing gave you 2 great controllers with very long cables, and also gave you, like I said, 90 plus games. But it didn't stop there, because yes, it's HDMI compatible. It's also available for your AV cords, which I don't know who's going to really use those, but somebody might. But the biggest seller for this thing right here was this little slot. And that's the SD card slot, because what you could do, yes, you could hack the other 2 consoles, but again, you had to go through hack cheat and you had to go through all that work just in order to hack it. And plus, there's only a certain amount of memory on here as well too, so you really couldn't throw as many games as you wanted to on here, like a complete library or anything for sure. With this here, I have a 16 gigabyte card, which is probably overkill. I have the complete North American SNES, NES, Sega Genesis, Game Boy Color, library, all in this bad boy right here. And all I have to do to play it is just put it in and push. If I push back out, it loads it right back to the menu with the original titles that are preloaded on the console. Another good thing about this as well too was the fact that it has USB controller spots. As of right now, as this video anyways, you can only use the current RetroBit ones that come with it. I do have a Dual Link one, that's a Street Fighter 2 Ryu version that I wish I could use on here, but as of right now I could not. But RetroBit did say that they're going to be releasing a firmware update that will allow me to go ahead and use those on here as well as other USB controllers, which we all know there's a ton of them out there. With this one here, you can only use certain ones, but they do make adapters as well too that you can find on Amazon and such, where you can use like original SNES games or original NES controllers as well too with this adapter and everything. But if you ask me though, personally, these two are collectors. I bought these simply because of the fact that I wanted these on my shelf. Yes, I play them. Yes, I do like them a lot. I'm a Nintendo fan, obviously, and I just want them as a collector's item. I knew one day they'd be worth some money, and not only that, though, even if they never are worth money, they're still great to have on my shelf because this here is my favorite console of all time. This is up there as well, too. But again, though, these are great retro classic consoles that I love to have on my shelf in this mini fashion. The main reason why I bought this one was not because it's a classic, because it's not a classic or nothing like that. It's not really a collectible. I bought this because, number one, yes, you can go out and buy a Raspberry Pi, but I love this because all the great arcade titles are on here, and the fact that I could preload, or I could actually load more ROMs and stuff on here. And of course, it does hook up to HDMI, so I can play it on my 55-inch 4K TV, and it's going to give me an awesome look to it as well too. Also, you can change the aspect ratio to 4.3. I wish they would have made that just, I know it's everybody's personal preference, but I wish they just would have basically made that how it's going to be 4.3 only. Because yes, you can do 69 on here, but 4.3 is going to be the best looking as far as the ratio goes that you can get for this, in my personal opinion. But guys, I just want to come here today and tell you which I thought was going to be the best for your money. Was going to give you the best, the most entertainment anyways goes. If you're a classic collector, if you're a collector, these are going to be the way to go for you. This is personally going to be for you. But if you're looking for a nice little console just to play some old games and everything on, you want to load other, like I said, Sega Genesis games and other arcade classics as well too. You know, Game Boy, Neo Geo, those can all be played on this as well too, as there are ROM packs out there that are available where you can actually preload or load them onto your card here and play them. So if you're looking for just a basic console to play simple games, this is going to be the way to go. At that $60 price tag, you cannot go wrong, especially when they allow the compatibility with the other controllers, USB controllers as well too, because RetroBit does make a pretty cool Street Fighter Sega Genesis one as well that I plan on picking up here once they allow it on this console so I can play my Sega games on here. But once again, if you're a collector, these are going to be the way to go. So a little bit of something for everybody here. So again, I just want to come on here and give you my personal opinion on what I think. Since plug and play consoles are becoming so popular nowadays, I just want to give you my thoughts on which one I thought was going to be the best for you and get you the most of your money's worth. So once again, guys, no matter what you do, no matter what you pick, it's going to come down to personal preference. But again, these are just my thoughts on what I think are going to be the best for you, and definitely is the best for me. So once again, let me know in the comment section below if you have all three of these, if you have just the Nintendo ones, if you have other plug and play consoles that you can recommend. Make sure you guys let me know about that, because I know like the Sega ones, the At Games ones, you can put some games in there as well too, but I just don't really like them. The quality just isn't that great. But again, that's just me. So let me know once again in the comment section which you guys prefer, which ones you guys have, or which one you guys plan on picking up. So once again, this has been Mike with Chit Chat Gaming, and as always, happy gaming.